Well, I tried to go live and I'm trying to go sideways and I don't think it's going to work. So we will see how this is going to work when I flip down. Oh, where is everybody? Welcome to a Facebook Live with Jeannie. I'm Jeannie Nielsen, the card lady, and I'm very excited to be here with you today. Today, let me go down a little bit more. It's been a little while. I worked a Monday and then I was sick with the flu for a Monday and then I worked 2 more Mondays. Today I'm off and I'm very excited to be here with you. I have a couple of cards to share with you. I called mine Bright Blooms and Butterflies because what I'm using is the Bloom Impressions designer paper. Love this paper. It's probably my favorite celebration item of all times. Besides that, I've used a couple of different butterfly sets and added them either as accents or the focal point of these cards. So I'm going to start with my favorite card that I got in a swap for celebration. This is the card. When I flip down, hopefully you'll be able to see the card a little bit better. It uses 5 different strips of designer paper, and I'm calling it a floating panel card because it appears to float. These little pieces of designer paper, these 7/8 inch strips, appear to float, but there's a secret and I'll show you. So let's see if this is going to work. I really don't know. I'm going to, oh boy. Yep, don't want to see that, do we? Okay, let's go like this. Sorry about that. I guess this thing is going to be very difficult today and I'm not going to be able to see exactly. Oh boy. Let's go like this. There we go. You don't want to see the ceiling and you certainly didn't want to see that mess. I'm working on it. It's a work in progress. But anyway, not sure what's going on with our thing today. Oops. Something fell and that was not a good sound. This is funny. My room is actually cleaner than it usually is, although it does have some issues. It's so funny that it would make that noise, just to make a point of how messy it is, but it really isn't as bad as it seems. Okay, so anyway, this was from JD Bedell, I believe her name is. I'm going to meet her at On Stage in a couple of weeks. She did this beautiful card. It's on thick, basic white cardstock. She embossed the front and then she put these panels, and it appears that these panels are floating, and it's because they're on a piece of window sheet. So I don't know if you can see that or not. Trying to see where the best place is to see that. There you go. She used 5 different patterns. We're going to see, this may not even work. This may be a complete disaster of a Facebook Live, but I'm going to do my best and I'm here for you. So let's just make this card. We'll get right to it. First of all, I embossed my front just as she did. Now, when I put it into my embossing folder, I actually put it so that my card and my butterflies were all in the correct orientation. In order to do that, you stick that in the top of your embossing folder, your 3D embossing folder, and it means that your spine is on the left. Now, they will tell you all the time, don't put the spine in on the left or the right or the bottom because you can crack your embossing folder. You've got to be really, really careful. So I kept it away from the edge as much as I could. It's a 6-inch embossing folder, so we've got about at the most about a 1/4 inch, maybe 3/8 of an inch clearance. And I made sure to really put it away from that edge and make sure it was in straight when I embossed this. So this was hanging out at the top, this was in the thing, and my spine was on the left when I did that. Rolled it through just like any other 3D embossing folder, but I did it very carefully, and I did it for everybody because I want to make sure that my embossing folder is not going to break. Okay, so let's get to this. Next part, we have window sheet. This window sheet, I can't remember if there's 1 or 2 sheets in a package, but it has this tissue paper covering, and I'd advise you to keep your tissue paper with you so you can keep track of where your window sheet is. All of a sudden, you're going to get rid of your tissue, and then you're not going to be able to find your window sheet. And there's a reason I know that. Okay, So I'm going to make my card very, very similar to JD's card, except that I am going to, let me put this here so I can see what I'm doing. I am going to use a different color butterfly, and you'll see why, because I'm doing another butterfly in a little while. Okay, so I've cut all of my strips already. I've cut my 5 strips. They're 7/8 by 3.5 inches. Now this piece of window sheet is 4 3/4 inches wide by 3.5 inches tall. So my pieces of designer paper are all going to be 3.5 inches tall. I love the pattern she did, so I'm going to do it exactly. What you're going to do is put this one snug to the left corner. Then you'll go to this one and you'll put this one snug to the right corner, the right side. And then after that, do your middle, and then you can position your last ones, and everything should be even. That's the plan. So let's do this. I'm not going to add too much glue. That might be a tiny bit too much, speaking of, because I don't want it to slide all over my window sheet. I want it to just sit there. Don't fiddle with it too much. It wouldn't take much for that to slide. Let's do this again for this one. So this Bloom Impressions paper, I had heard it was on low inventory. I don't know that I saw that, but I had heard that. I absolutely love this paper. So many beautiful patterns, and I can see this yellow one. There's a stamp set called Mixed Floral, and can you see this with daffodils for spring? It's just so pretty. So this is going to be my middle piece now that I've done these 2 outside pieces. I'm going to make sure they're good. How has everybody's weather been? We keep getting snowstorm after snowstorm. Most of them are on the weekends, which is lovely for me because I don't work on the weekends. But I feel sorry for everybody that does. And for 2 weeks in a row, they've worried about canceling church. Last week I did not go. This week they did cancel church because it's been icy. Icy for us. He doesn't cancel for snow because our pastor is says he's from New Hampshire. He's not afraid of snow. He doesn't cancel for snow. Okay, so I'm adding this. You know, I was afraid my, I have to tell you this a little bit. Mine are actually narrower than JD's strips are because my piece of window sheet was a tiny bit narrower. So I wanted to make sure I was going to have room, and it looks like I made myself too much room. When everybody comes to class, they'll have the correct thing, and it won't look so odd. So this is the fun part, just making these strips sit there. Isn't that so beautiful? And what I'm going to do now is take some dimensionals, and we are going to pop this up. Now I'm going to very carefully do this because I don't want them to move on me. You see how messy it is on the back. You're not going to see that. You're not going to see that when you're actually putting this card together. Go like that. We'll put a couple here. We'll put it, see, nobody will see these dimensionals either. When you're using vellum or window sheet or anything, you have to be very careful about where you place your adhesive because you can usually see through it. You'll see here that I'm hiding it behind the designer paper, so it doesn't really matter. So, has everybody been enjoying Celebration? I'm sad that it's almost over, mostly because it means that time just continues to march on. But it has been a good time. I've been enjoying getting things for free. Okay, we're gonna go like this. I'm gonna put this right here, just like that. And now I'm going to stamp my label. My label is going to be using Memento ink, and the stamp is called With You in Mind. I'm using the happy birthday, mostly because at this time of year, I have a lot of birthdays. A lot of people have birthdays soon or have already had birthdays, so I always need birthday cards. And if I'm ahead of the game, that's even better. Hopefully, I almost feel like I need to re-ink this Memento pad. Not bad. Okay, not bad at all. So now what I did, I want to show you two things. So next I'm going to add this to a Petunia Pop mat. Now this mat, let's see, the label itself is 3.5 by 1 3/4. And the mat, the Petunia Pop mat, is going to be 3 5/8 by 1 7/8. So you get 1/8 of an inch, in other words, just about 1/16 of an inch around all 4 sides. And then we're going to add our butterfly. I used, for the front of this, I used the hybrid embossing folder, like we said, for the bright butterflies. Beautiful butterflies. Is it beautiful butterflies? I have the stamp set here. The stamp set is beautiful butterflies. There's a hybrid embossing folder, and then I used a die cut. And my die cut, oh boy, you know what? I set it down and I was going to be very careful about it. Oh, I found it. I used the Peach Pie glimmer paper for my antenna. That's for my body of my butterfly. Peach Pie is one of the In Color glimmer papers. And what I wanted to show you is this. I have my die cut still here in my die. And what did I want to show you? Did I put it off the table? I wanted to show you about using the die cut. Here it is. We're going to use our Take Your Pick brush. Let me put it into my thing here. I'm going to just brush this out. I keep this close to my Stampin' Cut and Emboss, so I can do that. If I have a problem, I have this all set. This is my, the pointed end. And the only time I use my pointed end is when I'm trying to get out my dies. Each of the dies have these little tiny holes that you can poke with. If you ever find that it's not good enough, I should tell you, I also keep, is it here? Oh, I guess I used it. I also, next to my magnetic bowl or inside my magnetic bowl, I also keep a straight pin so that I can poke when those holes are really, really tiny. So make sure you have your Take Your Pick tool and you have that brush ready to go. Okay, so I'm just going to add the body here. And I didn't know what it was going to look like because, unfortunately, I love hers with the blue, but like I said, I've already used this paper. You're going to see it in another card in the very, very near future. I make sure that the head of the butterfly is just above those wings. And yeah, I did use a lot of extra glue, but I do want to make sure it gets in all the nooks and crannies of the glimmer paper. So, and then I want to show you one other thing. I guess we'll just, maybe this one will just glue on. I do want to show you something using our dimensionals in a little bit, but let's just glue this on. Let me think. I think I'm going to put some dimensionals on here as well, on the back of my Petunia Pop layer. Can you tell I'm out of sorts? I haven't been doing my Facebook Lives, and all of a sudden it's like I have to start over. People say it's like riding a bike, but they're not really telling the truth because I can get right back up on a bike and be fine. And a Facebook Live, maybe not so much. Okay, we're going to put this right here in the center, just like that. I'm going to add my butterfly right here to the side. I'll just do a couple of dots right there. That's probably more than I needed. And we'll just let that sit there and dry. But there we go. This is our card, just like what she did. I love how she made the card. I did tell, like I said, it's one of my favorite cards that I received for my celebration swap. So I hope you enjoy it too. So this is the first card that we'll be making in person on Thursday night, or if you place a $35 order or more, you'll get this in your mail. If it's a $50 order, you'll get 2 cards of each. Plus, you'll also get a an embellishment if it's a $50 order. Okay, so let's do this. I was thinking I was going to add a couple of dots, and I kind of forgot this. These are the party dots. I really love these dots. I was thinking that maybe I'd add these peach pie looking dots. So let me just add a couple, because I haven't really used the peach pie yet. Put it there. Oh, I should have paid attention. This wasn't quite dry yet. Okay, we're going to do one more dot. Where can I do this dot? You know what? I'm going to use a tiny one, and I'm going to put it right on top of the eye. Sometimes I like to do that. Okay, so there is our first card. Kind of fun, huh? Okay, let me put this away, and let's go on to card number 2. So these are the party dots. Yes, if you want any of these. I love the pool party. I love the pretty in pink, and then these peach pie. They're just so fun. Okay, on to card number 2. I think for card number 2, I'm going to show you another card with the bright butterflies. No, that's not this one. I'll show you that one in a second. Let's see. Okay, this one is a fancy fold card. So let me show you this card next. I really like this card. I've got all of my measurements written out, and I'll even show you some fun tips. Okay, so this here is the card. Got to see if I can see it. So, boy, I'm so sorry. You guys probably can't even see my stuff. I'll make sure that I do a better job. Here we go. Okay, so this is the card, and this is the paper that I was just talking about. Remember I said that I wasn't going to use the blue because I already used it? This is the pastel ombre paper. So pretty. What I did was for the body of the butterfly, the head and the body, I used the dark end because it's ombre. It goes from light to dark gradients. I used the dark for the head, and then for the wings, I used the lighter parts up at the top. And then this one, this die cut, I used the In Color designer paper. This is the not shaded spruce, Summer Splash glimmer paper. Summer Splash glimmer paper for this one. I actually copied a card, and I don't have the card with me, but the card was made using the Friends of the Ocean stamp set, and they used so many fun things that I really liked, including the paper, but we'll have to do that when we do that card. In the meantime, for this one, let me show you. I call it a front flap fancy fold card, and here's our card. So it goes like that, just like that. Okay, so let me show you how we're going to make this. Okay, we are going to start. Let me move my pad out of the way because we need to do some scoring first. So I've got my scoreboard here. And I'm going to have to talk you through it so that you can hear what I'm saying, since you probably I'm not used to doing it in this direction anymore. It's crazy. Okay, so what we're going to start with is this is going to make 2 cards, and I needed to cut 2 more cards, and I'll show you why I'm doing this. What I like to do when I am prepping for my card class, I like to score more than 1 card at a time. So I will take both cards and I will score them. So this is going to be a 4 1/4 by 11 inch card. So the first thing we're going to do is score it at 5 1/2. Oh, didn't want to do that. Kind of jumped on me. That's okay. I'll use that for something. I always kind of rub it out, and you don't do a terrible job. You can usually pretty much, except that it leaves a little bit of a shine, you can pretty much see, you almost can't even tell. So 5 1/2 is our first score line, and that's the middle of the card. Then we're also going to score it at 2 inches. And if I had paid better attention to the card that I was casing, she actually did it at 2 1/4 inches. But because I scored every other card at 2 inches, we are going to make our score line at 2 inches, and we will make our measurements to coincide with that. Okay, so first what I did, I scored at 2 inches and 5.5 inches. Now on the short side, now remember I said we're going to have 2 cards out of this. On the short side, I'm going to score it at, let me think, 1 inch, and I'm going to go just to this score line. So let's see, 1 inch, and I'm going to score very carefully just to the first score line, and then again at 3¼ inches. And what I'm going to do, because I'm doing 2 cards here, remember, I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to again do it at 1 inch just to the first score line. If you're not going to be making more than 1 card, that's fine. And then you just, I seem to be having a very hard time. I think because I'm usually I'm just zoom, zoom, you know, I'm so quick with this. But because I'm trying to do it just to the score line, it's a little bit harder. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is get rid of my scoreboard. We're done scoring, and I'll show you what we're going to do. So now we're going to do some cutting. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut this in half at 4¼ inches. Remember I said that I have actually 2 cards here. Now, I do want to show you something because this is really important. When you are reading a ruler, there are, let's see, let's go here, long lines, and each of those long lines are 1 inch. The next longest line is a 1/2 inch, and then the next longest line after that is a 1/4 inch. So and for each 1/4 inches, there's actually 4/16 inside of that. So, but a 1/4 inch is also the same as a 2 quarters or 1/2, and then we've got 3/4. So if you're looking at these lines, the tiny little line is a 1/16 inch. The next line is an 1/8 inch. Then you've got another 1/16, which would be 3/16 because it's the third 16th line. Then you've got 4/16, which is also 2/8 or 1/4, and so on and so forth. So I hope that makes sense for using the ruler. I've got some really kind of crazy measurements here, but as long as you realize that every little line there is a 1/16 inch, sometimes, and you could almost see it, if you went to, there are some rulers that will show you 30 seconds, and that's even smaller. And what that means is there are 32 little lines for each inch. But we're going to just use the 16th. So 4¼ it's going to be right there. I'm going to place my line, and I'm cutting, and we'll set this aside for later. And then let me do the next part. Now what I'm going to do is take my paper snips, and I am going to cut this out. Now, when we're making a box, we are mitering. We're making a little triangle cut so that our tabs fit nicely. That's not the case with this one. With this one, you want to cut as carefully and as straight as possible. And we're going to cut that out. And I actually just did a little sleight of hand here. This was another one that I did, but instead of scoring at 3¼ I scored it at 3¾ inches, which doesn't matter because I'm cutting it out, but I wanted to do it for mine rather than mess up somebody in class when I gave them this. So here we go. So we're cutting these 2 tabs out, and then, there we go. Then we're going to do our fold. So the mountain goes in the middle, just like that. We're going to do that in the middle. And then this tab is actually also folding inward. So they're both going to be mountain folds. So it doesn't matter. You don't have to flip your cardstock when you're scoring one side or another. So next, we have a couple of other things. So this is going to be the inside of our card. And what I'm going to do is put in this basic white piece of cardstock, and it's going to be 4 inches by 5¼ inches. Now, that's going to be a number that you guys are always going to remember, because I'm telling you, 99 times out of 100, that is your basic inside measurement, 4 by 5¼ inches. There we go. Now I have a piece of DSP. And remember I said that I was going to use the little 1/16 of an inch, some crazy measurements for this. And by the way, for your card class, this all comes pre-cut for you too. You don't have to worry about this, although you will get the tutorial and I'll tell you how I did it, including a little ruler measurement. I did a little Canva thing today and I should have put it up on my site. But anyway, so here we go. I'm going to put this inside. So this is 3 13/16 by 5 1/16. I like that it has a little bit smaller border around it. If you wanted to, you could easily do 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. Now this is not where I've messed up and had adhesive tear it or whatever. This is the paper pattern. I love this blue. First of all, it looks like sky, but second of all, it's easy to stamp on. So we're going to do that. Let me add this to the inside. So if it's 5 1/16, it's one little line just past the 5 inches. And then 3 13/16 mean under, close to the 4-inch line, you're going to count back 3 little lines. Just like that. Okay. Perfect. I've got that going. Now what I'm going to do, oh, did I show you the card? I don't think I showed you the card. This is the card. Isn't that so fun? So it folds just like that, and it's a fun fold. There are a few layers, but seriously, it's so easy to do. Okay, next what I have is I've got a white flap, and this is what's going to be stamped with my Time to Celebrate. Now, Time to Celebrate is one of the stamps from the Beautiful Butterflies stamp set. I'll tell you, I added these dots. I think they're a little busy, so I'm not going to add it to my next card. But Time to Celebrate, we are going to stamp in Blueberry Bushel. So let me do that next. And it could be time to celebrate anything. It could be a birthday, it could be an anniversary, it could be a retirement. I do have a birthday coming up, but I'm not retirement age yet. Okay, I am thinking I'm going to do this a little bit closer to the top than I did on this one. This one I kind of did in the center of the label. I'm going to do this one a little bit closer to the top. And what I want to do next is add my embellish. Oh, I'm going to put it on my front flap. So this is going to be the flap that goes right here. Actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me add the DSP to the front here first, and I'll give you the measurements for that. So this front basic white piece, because I scored this at 2 inches, my front piece is going to be 3 1/4 inches by 4 inches. It's going to be 4 inches tall and 3 1/4 inches wide. Once again, I'm going to do a funny little measurement for my DSP. 3 1/16, so 3 inches plus one little line by 3 13/16. So it's 3 lines less. And what you will notice is that it is exactly 3/16 less on all 4 sides, if that makes any sense. I know I'm saying a lot of measurements, and you will totally, you know, that does not look right. That doesn't look like the right piece that I needed. Hang on one second. I think I grabbed the wrong piece of the DSP. When I realized I made my wrong cut, I had to cut more DSP. So here we go. This is going to be 3 1/16 inch wide. Okay, let's add this. We're going to put this right here, and I'm going to try, I cut it so that the grasses would be upright. That's about the only thing that tells me the direction that I have to make sure of this DSP, that it is going in the right direction. I wouldn't want the grass to be growing sideways. And now what I'm going to do is put that right here on the front. So I can do that. Just like this. You'll have to be very careful if you have one where the orientation is even more obvious. Okay, so that's that. Now I've got this front flap, and this front flap is 2 1/4 inches by 4 1/4 inches. And what this is going to do is go on here, and then it can flip open and close like that. What I am going to do first is, this is 4 1/4 by 2 1/4. This is 2 inches by 4 inches. I'm going to glue this piece of Azure Afternoon right onto here. Let's do that next. And then I'm going to glue my sentiment on top of that. And like I said before, my sentiment was 1 13/16 by 3 13/16. It would also be fine if you wanted to do 3 1/4 by 3 3/4. That would total, no, 1 3/4 by 3 3/4. Okay, so if you don't want the 16th edge, that's how you do it. Okay, so I'm going to put that on here, just like that, nice and centered. And what I'm going to do to attach this is just add adhesive in this square right here. I don't want to put any adhesive on the back of here and guess how much. This one, I can put it exactly. And what I'm going to do is line this up just like that. And voila, there we go. Now, let me find my piece. Like I said, this is the Summer Splash. This is Summer Splash Glimmer Paper. You just have to be a little bit careful how you put it on. I could have put adhesive sheet on the whole thing. The problem is I don't want it to stick to my DSP. I just want it to stick here. So let's just, I'm going to try and keep my fingers here so that I know that that's really the only place that I want my glue. So let me do that. And I'm just going to use little dots of glue, just tiny little dots of glue in some of the bigger areas, just like that. There we go. See, there's not much glue at all. I'm just going to put that right there. Actually, maybe I'll bring it down a little bit. Okay, you can't really see. I'll move it like that. I'll have to take my adhesive eraser to this later. But one thing that I did do, oh, I didn't finish stamping inside. I forgot. Let me do it like this now. What we're going to stamp inside is happy birthday, because like I said, I need birthday cards, but it could be anything. Happy anniversary, happy retirement, anything. So I'm going to stamp my happy birthday right there in the center. And this is also from the Beautiful Butterfly set. And I'm also going to stamp one more butterfly. And I think I'm going to put it down in this corner right here, just like that. I could put it there, but then it would show on the front, and I really don't want that. That'll get kind of messy, so we're going to do it like that. Here we go. Now let's add our butterflies. I have 2 butterflies here. And my butterflies, like I said, are the glimmer paper, the pastel ombre glimmer paper. I've got 2 bodies and I've got 2 wings, and I just have a couple little pieces that have to be popped out if I can. Well, that one does not want to pop out for sure. There we go. Sorry, it had a little extra wing in there. I'm going to put that down here, just like that. Let me just add a dot of glue behind it. I'm going to use the leftover of that excess glue for my body right there. So let's do it like that. We're going to add our body. and my head is going to be just above. I hope everybody can see this because once, like I said, for some reason my camera would not rotate sideways, and I've never had a problem with that before, and all of a sudden today it's gotta throw me a curveball just to say, ha, you think you got it? You're wrong. We are the ones that are in control, we being not me. This one I'm going to pop up with a little mini dimensional. So I'm just going to take one mini dimensional and put it in the center there. And because that one is going this way, I think this one is going to go that way, just like that. And let me just add another dot of blue right here to the center. Just a tiny thing, just like that. Nothing crazy. The one thing that I have learned over the years is that yeah, the glue can be a little messy, but it gives you a little bit of leeway, a little bit of time to move. Here, kind of like that. I'm gonna move it just like that. I'm gonna change, there we go. Change the direction. It gives you time to move, but you don't need a lot. It's really important to not overdo it with the glue. You're not in kindergarten with the Elmers anymore. So there we go. There is our cute card, and it really wasn't that difficult to do. I will try to get these instructions on my blog this week because I really like this card. So that's card number 2 using the Bloom Impressions paper and the beautiful butterfly stamp set. Okay, let's move on to card number 3. Card number 3 is another panel card, and what I cased a card using, again, Friends of the Ocean, and she had used the Waves 3D embossing folder. I don't have the Waves 3D embossing folder because it turns out I don't have the Friends of the Ocean bundle. I ordered it today because I realized, how in the world is it possible that I don't have that yet? But anyway, okay, so this is the label. I'm going to bring out the stamp set here. Labeled with Love stamp set, and this has the matching punch. Another stamp set that has butterflies. That's why I chose this one. So let's get this one going. Okay, so here I have, this is funny, we're going to do some cutting again, I think, because it turns out that I cut a whole bunch of designer paper the wrong way. What I did want, so my piece of paper here is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 inches. Let me double check. 4 1/4 by 3 1/4 inches. Yep. But I wanted my pieces to go like this. Well, that's not how I cut them. I cut them at 1 inches, and by cutting them at 1 inches, it would have made my pattern go like this. Well, I really did want a sideways pattern, so I had to go back and recut. So this is the same measurement. This is 3 3/4 inches by 4 inches. And let me show you how we're going to cut this. We're going to take our paper cutter here, and we are going to cut them at 1 1/4 inches. So what we're going to do is put it right here, right there. That's a 1 1/4 inches. And I am going to cut these. So we're going to go like that. Let me make sure I'm doing this correctly, because like I said, I cut 10 sets the wrong way. So, okay, 1 1/4 inches. Move it to the right, 1 1/4 inches. And I could put 1 1/4 inches on either side. Oh, you know what? It isn't the same measurement now that I see that. This is 1 1/4 inches. I must have done something differently, because this one, I do have to make one more cut. Okay, well, there you go. 1 1/4 inches. So that should be 3 3/4. I must have had a 4-inch cut by 4 by 3. So that, rather than 3 3/4 by 4. Okay, I'm going to put this on this panel, And the way I cut them was in order so that I can keep them together as a pattern, just like that. You can see how they go together. But we're going to stretch them apart. And we're going to do the same thing as we did with our floating panel card. We are going to attach this first all the way to the left, even top, bottom, and left. And then we're going to do it here, even top, bottom, and right. And then you should clearly see where you're going to add your center panel. So hopefully I am still in camera and you can see me. I so apologize if I'm off camera most of the time. If I can figure out how to do this again, I probably will. But that will have to wait until Thursday afternoon, which is my next time off. Okay, so there we go. I've added all 3 of my panels there. And I used the, I don't even know the name of this folder. Somebody could probably chime in and tell me. It's one of the big, tall folders. And it's just a wavy, I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, we have the round dots folder, and then we have the plaster folder, and this is the 3rd one of that. So you could actually do more than one at the same time if you're cutting. It's also great for maybe if you're going to use it for scrapbook pages, etc. So I don't have the wave folder, but this to me reminded me of butterfly wings, just the way it was. And you could choose either side you want. To me, this looks more like the negative than this, but for every negative, there's a positive on the other side, if that makes any sense at all. So I think I'm going to use this as my negative. It doesn't matter. You can take your pick. It's whatever appeals to you. If there was a pattern like the butterflies, you'd clearly see which is the negative and how it goes. Okay, so we're going to do that. And then what I'm going to do is just add this to the front. And I'm just going to glue it on because I'm going to pop up my label. And I'll show you that in a second. So remember I said we're using the Labeled with Love stamp set. I have some scrap here to do that. Let's see. This is really a close fit, but I'll show you what we're going to do. So these colors are Lost Lagoon and this is Pool Party, and it seems very close to what is in here, I think. What I'm going to do next is stamp Happy Birthday, and this is the Labeled with Love from the Labeled with Love stamp set. I'm going to do it kind of right. You know what? New plan, because I know it works better and I can see it. I am going to punch my label first. So there's my label, and I'm going to use this as my scrap for my little butterfly. Okay, so before I stamp the Happy Birthday, let's figure out, because I really didn't have any extra room at all. Go just like that. That's pretty close to straight. I'm not positive it's straight, but it's pretty close. Then I have to tell you, when I'm doing this two-step stamping, I like to do the dark first and then fill in with the light, because I feel like I can see where I'm going. And really, this is a really tight fit, but that's okay because I'm going to be cutting it out. So I stamped my butterfly detail in Lost Lagoon, and now what I'm going to do is stand up, and with my Pool Party, I am going to stamp the inside. So that's my tip of the day. If you've got two-step stamping, you have to figure out what works best for you. But for me, it's usually start with the dark and then go to the light. And I like to rub my hand over the bottom of these solid stamps to make sure that I get every last bit of ink. Okay, so we've got that. And what I'm going to do is take my paper snips and cut around this very quickly. You don't have to do a fancy job, but try to be even all the way around. And what I usually do is I move the paper more than I move my scissors, if that makes any sense. See, I'm flipping my paper rather than my scissors to do the cutting. So I'm sorry you're watching all this in detail. I got one more card to share with you, and it, of course, has to be a pink card because it is, well, first of all, it's Susan's birthday today. Happy birthday, Susan. Susan is one of my class attendees who loves pink, so it has to be a pink card for her. So, nobody else has really made it known what color. Well, actually, Martha is probably a pink person too. I know Shirley likes her other color, her earthy colors. But okay, so what I want to do next, I have this Lost Lagoon soft cording, and it's new, and I wanted to use it. So what I'm going to do is I've cut some here, and I'm going to put this under my label. Now, I want to tell you, if you're doing something with this, let me see if I have it handy now. You could use either your Terran tape, which is acid-free, and it won't harm your pictures or your stamp things if you're going to keep them for a very long time. Or you could use washi tape. So, because I don't have Terran tape here, I could also hold it in place with my dimensionals, but I'm going to use some washi tape that I have here. And the reason I have this washi tape close by, I have to tell you, is because I use it to label my stamp sets. Pool Party on my stamp sets means that it is part of a punch bundle. It's just a color that I picked years ago and I stuck with. And then I had the peachy colors are more if they are a die bundle. And let me tell you, we're running out of this, so we need more washi tape from Stampin' Up. I'm almost out of peachy color. In fact, I had to go to Michael's to get this, and it doesn't even really work. I'm using some other colors that are close. This one means that it's a hybrid folder, or it's 2 sets of stamps. So it could be a set of 2 stamp sets together, or it could be that it's a hybrid folder. So this, on the side of my butterfly stamp sets, I have both that it's a bundle and that it's hybrid, has a hybrid embossing folder. Okay, enough about that. But I just wanted to tell you little tricks that I use just to keep myself organized because, boy, you guys know I have enough trouble as it is, right? Okay, so I'm just doing a little loop here, just like that. I'm going to do one more loop in the other direction, just like that. And yes, I've got lots of excess, but it's easier to have extra than too much, and then not enough. So, you know what? Let's just move it around. I'm just gonna tweak it a little bit. There we go. There we go. Okay, so, and then what I'm going to do is just add some dimensionals to the back. They don't stick very well to the washi tape, so I'm going to try and avoid that a little bit if I can. Yeah, not too bad. This cording is a little bit bulky, so yeah, I do have to do it in the middle of that. Okay, well, this is not how I would put dimensionals on. I'm not putting it on. Let's just do it right here in the middle. And I think I'm going to do one more up here. And the reason for that is because I don't want, like my one here, it kind of sinks in a little bit. I'm doing it so that there's no sinking in of this label. You know, it's all going to be popped up. We're going to go like this, put it just like that. And yes, that looks crazy, but obviously I'm not leaving it like that. There we go. Nice and easy. And what I'm going to do here yet is just attach this right there. And what I like to do is add just a little bit of glue just to the middle, the spine of my butterfly. Yeah, I know they don't have spines, but You get the idea. We're going to put that right there. And I did bend it up just because it gives it a little bit more whatever. Let's add a couple of dots. I have here the Sunny Day Iridescent Dots. And the Sunny Day Iridescent Dots, if you don't recognize it, are part of the Friends of the Ocean suite. Now, why did I not have them? I don't know. But let's just add. I'm running out of putty, so it's not really doing a good job anymore. We're going to do one down here, and we're going to do one more down there, just like that. And there we go. There is our card number 3. I like this one better than this one because this one I should have put more dimensionals under, I think. So there we go. Card number 3. One more card to do. I'm going to leave these Sunny Day dots close by. By the way, I got a 2-drawer organizer from Home Goods. And I found these envelopes, and I believe they're 6 1/4, let's see, 4.5 by 6 1/4 envelopes. I got them on Amazon, and they store my dots perfectly. So I keep them so that I have one that has the name of the embellishment on the back because I can never remember. And then these store in this drawer. I have one drawer for ones that I'm using that are open, and then I have another drawer full of packs that haven't been opened yet. So time to get going on those. Okay, last stamp set, last card. This is our pink card. Isn't that so pretty? Hopefully I'm not upside down. I cannot see which direction I'm in, but anyway, I once again will apologize because I don't know what it looks like to you guys, and I hope I'm stamping on screen. Let me show you what we're going to do. First of all, we are going to start with a pretty and pink card base, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Mountain in the middle, that's how you fold it. If you do it, fold it the other way, it can break the fiber. So you're going to have your bump in the middle, even though it does not seem like that's what you should do. Now we have our, I don't remember this embossing folder either, but I can tell you it's something about stars. It is a celebration item. So you have about 1.5 weeks to order this yet. So hurry, run, don't walk. This is a really, really nice embossing folder. This is one of those thin ones, just like the folder with the wavy folder. That means and we don't have many of these thin folders, but when you're making the sandwich, you have just the bottom plate. You don't have that thin die adapter plate on top of it, just the bottom platform. And then you're going to sandwich your embossing folder with the paper in between 2 regular clear plates. I am going to attach this to my card base. It makes all kinds of noise because of all of the pattern on the back as well as on the front. I really try hard not to lift up any sides of this because once it's embossed, it makes it a little bit thinner. And you can almost see, I can't remember where it was. I could almost see my thumb mark where I should have done a better job adhering it to my card base. Anyway, here we go. Now I have my next layer. Well, let's do our label. And I'm pretty sure this is from the Something Fancy dies. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure it's from the Something Fancy dies, and it just never got put away, and it turns out it was a perfect size. I'm going to use some Melon Mambo ink, and this stamp set that I'm featuring here is called Sketched Butterflies. It's not a new set. We've had this for a while. It has some great dies. I really like these, the set of dies here. Some of the dies are not here because I'm using them for the stamp set. But anyway, wishing you a beautiful birthday. This is a clear stamp, meaning you put it on clear blocks. It's not photopolymer. When I put them on my block, I really try to do a really good job of lining the top of my stamp up with the top of my block so I can trust my block. If you've been coming to my classes or have been listening to this for a while, you know that I like to say, trust the block. The only way you can do that is if you've put it on the stamp, on the block straight to begin with. Okay, I'm going to put that off to the side, and let's stamp our butterflies. We have two butterflies. We have this butterfly. This is a larger butterfly. And I'm going to stamp that here on the side, just like that. And then I have this in-flight butterfly as well that I'm going to stamp. Both I'm stamping in Melon Mambo. And I'm kind of going against the rules here. Yes, there are rules. When I'm doing this, most times when I color with my Stampin' Blends, I color with Memento. I use my Memento ink pad so it's there, and then when the alcohol-based marker touches it, it doesn't move it around. Well, I'm using my Stampin' Blends, but I'm going to be very, very careful to make sure that I don't, where did I put my stuff? I've already colored some, but I'm going to color them so you see how I color them. I'm going to, because I see in here both Peach Pie and Melon Mambo and Pretty in Pink, but I want to keep this primarily pink. I'm going to use Pretty in Pink and Peach Pie Stampin' Blends. These are both the light markers. What I decided to do with the Peach Pie, let me use my brush side because I don't want to take my time too much. I'm going to just color in some of these dots here on the side. Now I can tell you, I don't want to color too much. If I start blending too much, I'm going to be moving around that Melon Mambo ink. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just trying to just add some color without moving it too much, if that makes any sense. Just like that. And then I think I'm going to just do the body with the peach as well. And I'm going to do that on this one as well. And then let's use our Pretty in Pink. And like I said, I'm not moving it too much. I'm adding, but I'm not blending like you normally would. I could almost probably use a marker, a Stampin' Write marker, rather than a blends for this. But I'd still see the lines when I'm doing that, which is why I like to use my blends. But like I said, I'm going against the rules. Don't do like you normally would and blend because you're going to muddy up that whole image. So doing that. And then when I'm finished with all this, what I'm going to do is cut this out with the dies, which by the magic of television, as they say, I already have. Because you know, with my genie powers that I have, I can do anything and make it appear. Sorry, this is taking a little bit longer than I had intended. I don't know why I'm even doing it because I've already colored mine and I've already die cut them, like I said. Oh, 6 o'clock, we gotta hurry up. What I'm going to do is attach my DSP, and I could do either side, but this side is pretty, but I'm going to attach it with the peach side showing because I'm going to use some peach dots, and I used the peach when I was coloring my butterfly. In case any of you are wondering, that Christmas carol clock is up year round for me. You know how I love Christmas, and it keeps me on target. Okay, I've got that. I've got my label that I'm going to pop up with some dimensionals over here. I think what I should ask for my birthday is one of those mini vacuums for all of those dimensional backs. You know how you have them all over the place, like all over your keyboards, all over your stamp desk, especially when you're doing a Facebook Live. I need one of those mini vacuums. So if anybody's watching, pass it on to my husband. Okay, I'm going to put this right in the middle, and the reason I'm going to put it in the middle is because I am going to attach my butterflies. I think what I'm going to do is just like I did here. I wanted to show you something really fun. Now, what I do here is I use just a little bit. These are what my one of my team members, she's going to be celebrating 15 years in June, I think she said the other day, which she's right behind me. I'm going to be celebrating 17 years in April, which is crazy. Use the bones, the side of it, for some of those narrow pieces when you're adding dimensionals. And I just want to attach it behind the middle because I want my wings to be rather dynamic. So we're going to do it just like that. And then I can bend them up. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here, but this one I'm going to attach dimensionals behind the whole thing. I'm not going to just do a couple little wings. So there we go. And I'm going to attach that up top, just like that. Let's attach that to the center of our card here. I'm going to glue that down very quickly. Do a decent amount of glue because, once again, when you're attaching anything to something that's an embossed and detailed layer, if you don't use enough glue, it's not going to stick. I'm going to do it just like that. So, Susan, this is your pink card in honor of your birthday. Jane, I know your birthday is on Wednesday. I'm going to have to figure out what color you like because I don't know. Okay, what I'm going to do with this one, remember I said I wanted to use these dots again. I'm going to use the peach ones this time because I'm going to bring out the peach in the card instead. So I've got my take your pick tool and I'm going to do, I'll do a big one. I'm going to do a little one there and I'm going to do one more little one down there, just like that. I think I love it with the peach. Don't you? It really makes the peach in the butterfly pop. I hope you can see this. I hope, because I keep looking underneath and I can't really tell if I'm in camera or not and if I'm upside down or not. But anyway, here we have card number 4. This is card number 3. So sketch butterflies. Oh, I wanted to tell you one more thing when you're die cutting. One more tip. One more. When you are using, oh, do I have it here? Yes, for the big, oh, you can't really see it, but when if I was going to be die cutting this big butterfly here, you see these 2 little dots on here? If you line up the antennae of your butterfly, you can't see it, but I see it there. There's dark pink under there. Then I will know that I'm lined up and I'm going to cut it straight. So those are really helpful to know too. One more tip for you. So line those up and make sure you can see the dark pink through there. I know you can see that that's white, and if I move it closer, you can kind of see the dark pink. I hope that makes sense to you. Anyway, I'm going to flip back and say, oh, thank you, Karen and Joanne. Was I upside down? Because you know me, I'm always upside down. Let's see who else. Stephanie, so good that you could join. Thank you for joining. Cindy, Ann, thank you. I love the colors too. Joyce, everybody, thank you so much for watching today. I had a great time. Let me show you the cards just in case. There's card number 1. Oh, this is our floating panel card with the window sheet behind. That was our tip. Then sketch butterflies with the pink. Yeah, I know Anne likes pink. Well, Anne likes subtle colors. Don't you, Anne? I know she also likes earthy tones, but I know Joanne loves her pink, and so does Karen. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. I had a great time doing this. I always end up eventually loving this once I get started. So thank you for joining me. I'll be back next week. Oh, hi, Lori. I almost missed Lori too. Thank you everybody for watching. Please give me a thumbs up so that I can get a little bit more Publicity. I'll talk to you soon. Love you. See you next week. Bye.